Hi, I'm Michelle Hardy, and today I wanted to talk to you about good gossip. Are people gossiping about your book? Are they just making side chatter about your book so everyone knows? So, I want to give you some things that you can do to get people gossiping about your book. One way to get people to start talking about your book and have good gossip is to volunteer. I volunteered to learn different things and it paid off for me. I ended up getting a job. So the same way you would volunteer in the industry that your book serves. So, for example, say your book is on safety. You might want to volunteer at your local fire department. Or say your book is on grieving. You might want to volunteer at a funeral home or that whole industry, right? Let's say that you have a book on being a vegan or vegetarian. Maybe you might volunteer with some farmers or something like that. If your book is about therapy or mental health, then you maybe connect with some therapists, but you're volunteering to help them in some type of way. And that way you will get that audience quicker versus you just going here and there trying to capture their attention. Another way to get people to have good gossip about your book is to go to home parties. The home party industry is just really huge, and there's different types. There's Tupperware, there's Avon, there's Paparazzi. There's all these different home party organizations or companies, and you can donate your book, or if your book has something slightly to do with that industry. So it doesn't have to be the ones that I mentioned, but somewhere where you see you can infuse your book into what they're doing, right? To help them. And so maybe they can talk about your book to their audience, right? Another way that I always say is good to get people knowing about what you do is book clubs. You need to be the best friend of the book club, right? So, this is a way for getting people to gossip about your book, and they're going to be talking about it, especially if it's good and it's of interest to them, like they like that type of book, that genre. Church gossip is probably the best way to get your book in the hands of people that need it. I believe that if you volunteer to speak, host an event at your local church or churches in your area, and you feel like the members, you can meet their need with your book or the information in your book, that will get you more exposure. So the more places you go, the more people that can buy your book. We all know that the radio or podcasts are where we hear a lot of gossip. And so, why not have people talking about your book? So, go to the radio stations, and a lot of them are online now, and just volunteer to give a little bit of information because they're only going to let you have a small segment. But how can you serve their customers? So, really do your research on this. What is the topic of your book, and how will it serve the people that they're serving? If it's music, maybe that type of music, and then maybe something has happened in the community that listens to that type of music that can serve them, right? So you have to do a little bit of research on it, but it'll be well worth it. Another way to get people to have good gossip about your book is to just have little souvenirs or tchotchkes. The name of your book or your name is on a pin, on a refrigerator magnet, just some kind of little trinket that they can have, something that they're going to use and they're going to always see. And then, people like stealing pins. They're not really stealing them, but they just forget to leave them where they found them. And so they'll be going to different people, and the more the better, right? So you don't just discard a pen. It stays around until the ink runs out. So this is a good way for people to know about your book. If there is a certain thing that's happening in the local community or globally, and your book is actually speaking to that incident, it's a perfect time for you to try to get on television locally. And then once someone sees you locally, that opens up another door for you to go global. So, make sure that you're paying attention to the current events that are going on in the world because your book can meet the need of someone.